General Electric. Here is Ronald Reagan.
Good evening. Tonight, Jack Benny stars in a repeat performance on the General Electric Theater. And you will see product reports that show how in the things that lead to a better life for us all, at General Electric, progress is our most important product.
With all the groping, all the stooping, all the bending you have to do each day, why ask for more by getting an old-fashioned chest freezer that lies down on the job? The freezer for you is the new upright General Electric, this 18-cubic-foot bookshelf freezer. It lets you select frozen foods as easily as taking books off a shelf. There's twice as much food in sight and right at your fingertips. Even the odd-shaped packages come out with ease. What could be more convenient? And there are 6 freezing surfaces, not just 4 cold walls. And it stores as much as 640 pounds of food. Big as it is, this General Electric upright freezer takes up only half the floor space of most comparable chest freezers. And its straight-line design gives your kitchen a true built-in appearance without the cost of building in. See your GE dealer soon and live better electrically with the new General Electric bookshelf freezer.
In the course of everyday living in the business world, most of us are acquainted with different types of people. These more or less fall into a comprehensive pattern. But every once in a while, one of these people steps out of character. A man we have tabbed as a craven coward performs an act of sheer heroism. A paragon of morality suddenly displays a glaring flaw. Tonight we have an illustration of this in our play, which stars that great student of human nature, Mr. Jack Benny, in The Fenton Touch.
I know you've been through a lot, Mr. Fenton, but if you'll only try to recall anything else about the appearance of these 2 men.
Now, Lieutenant, couldn't this wait? Fenton's just spent 14 horrible hours locked in a vault.
Well, it really wasn't too bad, Mr. Waterman. You see, I made a bed of the empty money bags there, and I was quite comfortable. Although I did get up once or twice during the night and...
All right, Mr. Fenton. I'm only trying to get something to go on.
Oh.
Waterman, do you want your money back or don't you?
The welfare of my employees comes first, Lieutenant. First, last, and always.
And you also happen to be insured.
Yes. So, don't answer if you don't feel up to it, Fenton.
Oh, I don't mind, Mr. Waterman. I'm certainly willing to cooperate. Now, as near as I can remember...
You better get this, Davis.
As near as I can remember, of course, I just got a flash when they forced me into the vault.
Yes, we understand that, Mr. Fenton.
And as near as I can remember, there was a tall man, you see. Not too tall, of course. And then there was another one, a shorter man.
But not too short.
No, come to think of it, the short one was the taller one of the 2.
And I suppose the thin one wasn't as heavy as the fat one.
I'm not sure. You see, they were wearing masks, rubber masks, you know, and one had on a Boris Karloff mask, and the other one was Dick Tracy. See, it was sure a shock seeing him, you know.
Mr. Cartwright, is it policy for this store to keep such a large amount of cash on hand overnight?
Yes. The store does a tremendous cash business, Lieutenant. Tremendous.
And yesterday was Dollar Day.
Thank you. How did it happen Fenton was alone with all of that cash? Does he customarily lock up the vault by himself?
Not customarily, no, but when I was unavoidably called away from the store...
Did that happen often?
Well...
Very seldom that happened, very seldom.
But it did happen yesterday. I say it did happen last night, didn't it? And 2 men forced you into the vault and made off with a big hunk of dough.
At precisely 5:56. Then at 8:02 in the morning, Mr. Cartwright opened the vault and let me out, you see. Then at 8:05, I went to punch in the time clock. You see, Mr. Waterman, that's why I was 5 minutes late.
We've decided to overlook that, Fenton. It will not show on your record.
Thank you, Mr. Waterman.
Incidentally, Lieutenant, we won't know how much was stolen until I can make an audit.
Well, I figured it was pretty close to $50,000.
If there's any question, Lieutenant, of corroborating Fenton's story, I need only say that he's been with Waterman's for 30 years, a good and faithful servant.
Well, to be a little more exact, Mr. Waterman, I've been with you 29 years, 11 months, and 28 days. Matter of fact, in 2 more days I was due for retirement until this unfortunate accident happened.
Nonsense, Fenton, nonsense. You will retire. And if there's any question, Lieutenant, of his character, his honesty, his devotion...
Yeah, sure, Mr. Waterman. Go home and get some rest, Fenton.
Oh, if you want to skip the press, you better go out the back way.
What do you think, Mr. Waterman?
Well, it's entirely up to you, my boy, entirely. But in these days of doubt and confusion and dishonesty in high places, I believe your simple story of courage and devotion to duty will be an inspiration everywhere.
I'm ready to face the press.
Hello, Mother! I'm home.
Good morning, Harold. Oh, poor dear. You must be starving. There's a bowl of cereal ready for you.
Hey, Mother, aren't you going to ask me how it went?
I heard over the radio, but I do wish there'd been some way of doing it without keeping you out all night.
Oh, Mother, I wasn't out all night. I was in a ball.
I know you were, Harold. And if you keep on, you're going to end up with that same sinus drip your father used to have.
Oh, Mother, the vault was warm and dry. It wasn't like Father's prison cell.
Hurry and eat your cereal. You'll feel better.
You know, I don't have to go back until tomorrow. Mr. Waterman gave me the day off.
Well, that was certainly big of him, after all you've done for the store. How much did you get?
$50,000. It's in my desk at the office, in the drawer with the false bottom. You know, Mother, I learned something about myself that I never knew before. You know, I'm quite an actor.
You're not eating your cereal, son.
Maybe if I hadn't taken up bookkeeping, I might have been a big movie star, making love to Marilyn Monroe or Lana Turner or Betty Grable.
Harold, they are married women.
On the screen, Mother. On the screen.
Oh, well, the way things turned out, I'm glad you're a bookkeeper. After all, it's better to have a respectable occupation.
Yeah, I guess so. Take one job, stick to it, and work hard, and someday it pays off. The next morning at 7:59, I punched in at the store. Figuring 308 working days a year, that makes 9,240 punches. It was a little strange to think of this being my last punch, but I had the satisfaction of knowing that it was a knockout. There was something different about this morning. Everyone had a smile for me. In the elevator, there was Mr. Philbus, assistant buyer in leather goods, and Helen Prentice, that pretty blonde I always liked, who worked on the 10th floor with me. She was now Mr. Cartwright's secretary, and she certainly had worked her way up. When I first met her, she was in the basement.
Well, Fenton, back at the old desk, eh?
Yes, it didn't seem quite right being away from it.
Got a surprise for you this afternoon, Fenton. Going to make a little ceremony out of your retirement.
A ceremony?
Oh, yes, good for store morale. Right, Cartwright?
Absolutely, Mr. Waterman, absolutely.
And about that little request of yours you made last week, Fenton, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. We can swing it.
Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Waterman.
Oh, not at all. Oh, it's been a wonderful relationship working with you these 30 years, and I think we're all richer for the experience.
Well, I know I am. As was my habit, I ate my lunch in the park. The chopped liver sandwich was delicious. All Mother's sandwiches were good, but she really put her heart into the chopped liver. I always brought a small chocolate bar to share with the squirrels. I ate the chocolate, gave them the nuts. Here you are. Here you are, Mr. Waterman. Here you are. Yeah. Now, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, Mr. Waterman. Leave some for Mr. Cartwright. That's it. That's it.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Would you mind if I join you, Mr. Fenton?
Well, of course. I mean, of course not. Sit down. Sit down, Miss Brenda.
Thank you.
Now, cut that out, Mr. Waterman.
He does look a little pompous, doesn't he? Which one is Mr. Cartwright?
Oh, that one over there with the mustache. The other squirrels don't like him, he bites. There you are.
And is there a Miss Prentice?
Well, there is, but right now she's,
Nesting?
well...
Oh, how long have you been feeding them, Mr. Fenton? They seem so friendly.
Oh, about 30 years. So it's my favorite animal.
Oh.
Now, one thing about a squirrel, you give him a nut, and does he eat it right away? No, he runs away and stores it in a hole. Believe me, we could all profit from their example.
And now that you've stored your little nest egg, you're retiring.
Well, yes. You see, I have my eye on a cottage by the lake and in the woods with a lot of squirrels and no time clocks.
You and your wife?
No, my mother.
Oh. It certainly is a shame the way those bandits got away with $50,000. Why, look what a man like yourself could have done with all that money. You could have your cottage and a wife, too.
Well, I don't know about that last part. I'm afraid I'm not very attractive to women.
Why, on the contrary, Mr. Fenton, I think you're quite good-looking.
Oh, now, Miss Prentice.
Oh, you have such clear blue eyes.
Well, yes.
Well, I'm not the only girl who thinks you're attractive. Do you know, none of the girls at the store can understand why you never married.
I don't know. I guess it just never occurred to me. I don't know what I'd do with a wife.
Well, you could learn. With the right kind of girl to teach you.
Well, it's 5 minutes to 1. I think we better punch in, huh?
I keep wondering what those robbers are going to do with all that money.
Well, if they're stuck with it, it's their own fault.
Well, there he is, Fenton. Yes, we've been waiting for our, shall we say, guest of honor.
Me?
You, Fenton. Yes, we have a little ceremony to bid farewell to a good and faithful servant. One who has given 30 years of his life as a contribution, however small, to making Waterman's the great institution it is today. Well done, Harold Fenton.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And all I can say is...
And now a surprise for Harold Fenton. A week ago, in a letter to me, our good and faithful servant requested that on his retirement, he be given permission to purchase for his home his old desk.
Mr. Waterman, I don't know what I'd do without it.
Now, frankly, I put a lot of thought to this simple request. I weighed the factors in my mind. On one hand was Fenton's 30-year service, and on the other...
Mr. Waterman.
On the other, he was already receiving his pension of, his pension. However...
Mr. Waterman.
However, Fenton, my boy, I decided to go you one better.
One better? You don't mean a new desk?
Nothing so unsentimental. No, Fenton, instead of allowing you to purchase the desk, I'm giving it to you. All right, boys. They have orders to deliver the desk to your house.
Thank you.
All right, back to work, everybody.
Be careful.
And then clearance.
Don't drop anything. Don't drop any of the drawers.
That old desk certainly means a lot to you, doesn't it, Fenton? I'll bet you wouldn't take $1,000 for it.
I certainly wouldn't, Mr. Waterman. It means a lot more than that to me.
That was Act 1 of the Fenton Touch, starring Jack Benny. Now for special news about General Electric's new 1958 filter flow washer.
This is the wonderful filter flow washing system introduced and perfected by General Electric,
to give clean, bright washes with no lint fuzz. Lint is caught for good here in this easy-to-reach, easy-to-clean, non-clogging filter. No more linty socks like these. Instead, clean and bright with no lint fuzz. And with this new 1958 General Electric, you get filter flow washing plus wash-to-order fabric keys. You simply touch one key to give your wash load the just right combination of wash and spin speeds and water temperatures. There's a clearly marked key for all your washables, cottons, synthetics, and specials. Results, everything clean and sparkling with no lint fuzz. See this big capacity 1958 General Electric filter flow washer and matching dryer at your General Electric dealers. Now, Act Two of the Fenton Touch, starring Jack Benny.
Retirement agreed with me. I love to putter around in my garden. It was a thrill to plant a little packet of seeds and watch the vegetables grow. I just finished planting some lettuce. $50,000 worth. I counted it so often I was developing a green thumb.
You better for one morning, Harold. Your back will go out again.
All through, Mother.
Harold, what were you planting this morning?
Mother, if anything should happen to me, right between the beets and the radishes is a very rich patch of dirt.
Son, how about that little cottage we saw by the lake? It's just what we wanted.
Yes, but they're asking too much money for it. I wouldn't want to squander Mr. Waterman's money like that.
It was good of you to drop in, Fenton. I'm having the devil of a time trying to clean up accounts on the robbery. What was your final tally again?
$50,000 almost exactly, Mr. Cartwright.
Oh, you're way off. That doesn't check with my audit at all.
Well, I'm sure my figures are right.
Well, then you're wrong, that's all. My check shows they got away with $82,000.
$82,000?
That's right. Now, if you'll just sign the necessary statements corroborating my audit.
I can't do that, Mr. Cartwright.
And just why can't you? Don't you take my word for it?
Well, frankly, no.
Look, Fenton, let's be reasonable. You're retired. It's nothing to you one way or another. You just made a little mistake in your figures, that's all.
You mean you want me to cover up for your shortages in your account?
All right. All right, Fenton, I'll lay it on the line with you. Temporarily, I'm a little bit short. Involvement with a woman and... Well, you wouldn't understand.
I most certainly wouldn't.
I'll make it worth your while.
But shortages are found out sooner or later.
All right, Fenton. If that's your attitude, let me tell you something. I don't like the smell of this robbery of yours. I don't like it at all. Now, what do you think of that?
What do you mean?
I think it's highly possible that you took off with the $50,000.
Mr. Cartwright, if for one instant I were capable of doing a thing like that, don't you think I'm much too clever to put my head in a noose by covering up for you?
Mr. Fenton, if I were talking to an honest man, wouldn't he have taken my story straight to Mr. Waterman? I'll give you 1 minute. Either sign my audit, or I'll go to the police and accuse you of stealing $82,000. Think it over, Fenton.
No question about it, Mr. Cartwright's dishonesty might be a bit awkward for me. My instinct about the man had been thoroughly sound. I had disliked him for 16 years, and now I distrusted him too. Well, there was only one safe way out of it.
Well?
Mr. Cartwright, if you need money...
Yes?
Why don't you rob the vault? It really isn't difficult at all.
Well, how do I get away with the money?
Well, this I can't tell you.
Well, you'll have to help me, Fenton. Lock me in the vault and you take the money.
Me?
Sure. That way we're both in the clear for good.
You mean I should clear out the vault a second time?
Well, you'll never regret it.
Regret it? rather enjoy it.
Hello, Harold.
Miss Prentice. Helen. But the money.
Well, I was listening when you and Mr. Cartwright made your plans, and he caught me and forced me to help him. Oh, you understand, don't you, Harold?
Helen, Mr. Cartwright mentioned a woman in his life. You're not the one.
Harold, of course not.
Oh, excuse me, Helen. I was just thinking of the office party last Christmas.
Oh, that. Well, that was just because he was under the mistletoe. And if you had been under the mistletoe instead of Mr. Cartwright.
Really? Gee. Yeah. I'm sorry, Miss Prentice. I guess I just lost my head. I didn't know what it was that made me do that to Helen. Maybe it was the perfume she was wearing. Intoxication, she called it. I must have had one whiff too many because suddenly I felt very drunk. It was a good feeling, though, one of courage. And I was already planning on some way to get even with Mr. Cartwright. Not for what he was making me do, but because he was forcing poor innocent Miss Prentice to witness this horribly dishonest transaction.
Oh, Fenton, you're here. Good. Anybody see you come up?
No. I got some wrapping paper for the money, and I even brought a handle with care sticker. You know, the Fenton Touch.
Never mind that.
Well, there's no need to be nervous. You see, I spent 8 years in mailing and wrapping.
All right, all right.
Wait a minute. I thought I was supposed to take the money.
There's been a change, Fenton. I rewrote the script.
Well, do you think that's wise to fly in the face of my experience?
Look, Fenton, do you think I'm a child? Lock me in the vault and you take off with the money? You think I'd ever see you again?
Well, you're questioning my honesty. Well, I'm sure that Miss Prentice can vouch for me, because we're pretty good friends. Eh, Miss Prentice? Helen.
Unfortunately for you, Fenton, Helen's on my side. Now, if you wouldn't mind getting in the vault.
Me? Me getting in the vault?
This is a loaded gun, Fenton. Get in the vault.
But
You came back for a second helping, that's all.
Mr. Cartwright.
Your Confederate got away with the money, but I courageously slammed the vault door shut on you and went for help.
But Mr.
Will they
Cartwright.
believe me? I imagine they'll find the 50,000 somewhere around your house. They'll believe me.
Helen. I see.
I'm sorry, Harold. It is a nasty trick, but we're nasty people. You should have stuck to your squirrels.
One more thing, Fenton. How did you ever get that 50,000 out of here the first time?
How? Well, I didn't.
You didn't.
Well, where is it?
Well, it's still in the vault.
I don't believe it.
Oh, yes, I have it very cleverly hidden up there. You see, it took me most of the night.
All right, Fenton, get in there and show me.
Well?
All right, where is it?
It's way up on top there to the left of the vent.
Well, we'll need a ladder.
No, we won't. Here, Fenton, you get on my shoulders. I'll push up.
No, wait a minute. I'm too heavy. Helen is lighter.
That's right. Helen, here, put your foot here.
Now be careful.
Get on my shoulders.
You won't hold
Don't drop
it.
her.
I'm holding
Now, don't drop her. Don't drop her.
I can't find anything
Well,
up
feel
there.
around
Well,
up
hold
there.
on to me. I can't find a thing. Where is it?
I don't know why they trusted me. I wouldn't have trusted them. Oh, well. I hated the idea of Helen being locked up in the vault all night with Mr. Cartwright. But since I could think of no practical way of changing places with him, I decided to go home. Mother would be wondering what happened to me. would have opened the vault by 8 o'clock, so the police should be here any minute.
Harold, are you sure those two will implicate you in this?
More than likely, Mother. You see, they'll find the gun on Mr. Cartwright, and he won't be able to explain it. Then they'll find my fingerprints all over the place, and I'm not even working there anymore. And I'm sure that Miss Prentice will turn on Mr. Cartwright after a night in the vault.
Yes, she's just the type.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mother. I guess I just don't know too much about some women. That must be the police.
I'll get it.
Good morning. Harold Fenton at home?
Right this way, sir.
Good morning, Lieutenant. Good morning. I just finished my cereal. Would you care for some?
No, thanks. Well, shall we go?
Do you think they'll be very hard with him, Lieutenant? After all, he hasn't spent any of the money.
Oh, I don't think so. As long as the insurance company gets its money back, I think they'll give him a break.
How long?
2 years. Maybe less, maybe even 1.
Still a long time.
After 30 years at Waterman's? Mother. Well, Lieutenant, let's go out the garden, see if we can dig up some money.
Speaking for all of us at General Electric, and I'm sure for all of you, we are happy to have had Jack Benny back in our General Electric Theater tonight. We're grateful to him and the rest of our cast of the Fenton Touch. In a moment, we'll tell you about our star and story for next week. But first, here's Don Herbert for General Electric Refrigerators, a story with a string attached.
See this thread I'm holding? It's so light, I can snap it easily. Yet this same fragile thread tied to a heavily loaded shelf of this new General Electric refrigerator will bring any item of food to my fingertips without breaking. With General Electric revolving shelves, you never reach or grope. Got something that won't fit on the shelf? Just touch the button and revolve. General Electric takes the work out of adjusting shelves, too. It's as easy as that. You never unload a revolving shelf to adjust its height. Of course, General Electric offers more than revolving shelves. This 5 cubic foot rollout freezer puts up to 175 pounds of frozen food at your fingertips. General Electric refrigerators have no coils on the back. They fit flat against the wall with no wasted space to catch dust and dirt. For new beauty and convenience in your kitchen, see your General Electric dealer this week and live better electrically.
Next week, we're indeed proud to present a 2-time Academy Award winner with a list of dramatic hits that have made her one of the all-time greats of the American screen, Miss Bette Davis. Bette stars as a novelist in our story, With Malice Toward One. Until next week, then, good night for General Electric, where progress in products goes hand in hand with providing progress in the human values that enrich the lives of us all. That's why, at General Electric, progress is our most important product.